The last few weeks have been crazy, I guess is a good way to put it, on a couple of fronts. Obviously, both being essential workers, we don't have the ability to necessarily stay home, so we have to juggle the work life with the family life, and be fireman and police officer and mom and dad and school teacher at the same time.
We see the public a lot more than guys working nights do. And I mean, definitely since they started the social distancing and all the regulations, we've received a handful of calls regarding businesses, kids on, fields, parks, things like that, whether they're legitimate or not. We still go and check them out, investigate them. But, 100%, our administration said, let's try to educate these kids, these adults, on what the regulations are and why we're doing them.
Pandemic, our guard's high. We're always suspecting it. Although our runs for a while were down, when the shelter in place first happened, our daily call volume dropped a bit. Kind of as everybody hunkered down, I think, and it's starting to come up a little bit to about our average.
The volume's lower, but the types of calls that we're going to are a little bit more serious. Domestics seem to be ramping up a little bit, things like that. Larcenies, stealing, things like that are starting to amp up a little bit. But definitely the domestics and you're right, up in the Syracuse, Eastwood area, we're definitely getting hit a little bit more.
Surprisingly, car accidents are down a little bit. I suspected they might be up, just with everybody out doing the essential runs to the grocery store and all the other places that they need to go. But I guess that's a sign of everybody hopefully doing what they're supposed to do and stay home.
In the event you have to put your hands on somebody, we still have to do it. Obviously, we're trying to wear gloves, our masks. We try to ask people, if they've been sick, have they had any symptoms as well. But, in the end, if we have to, we have to. We just have to take those precautions and just be cognizant of it, make sure we're washing our hands like everybody else and, trying to stay clean, changing out our uniforms, things like that.
We do a little survey from the door, if you will, kind of before we enter any place. We'll have our personal protective equipment on, our respirators and gloves and everything. We're not going to not take care of somebody. It's their time of need, and that's what we're here for. So our safety process at home has changed a little bit. A lot of mine I get done before I get home. Before I leave the firehouse in the morning, I go in street clothes, so my uniform, gets changed before I leave work the next morning, and I come back home in those same street clothes. Before I change into those, I take a shower, hand sanitize, all that stuff on the way out the door. And the same thing when I come home, the shoes come right off, and the mudroom don't go any farther than that. And hand sanitize. Lindsey, comes home, boots come off right in the mudroom, uniform goes right to the laundry.
They try to limit the amount of time that we're at the station. We try to do a lot of our paperwork in our vehicles.
Both of our employers have plans in place that either we can come home to our families if we choose, or they have places for us to go, so we don't need to worry about bringing that home to our families, which is super good of them to be proactive and do that, and take care of the people, that their employees and their families.
Obviously we're taking as many precautions as we can, whether it be masks. We've also kind of changed the way we're responding to calls. So we're trying to avoid going to calls. We were trying to handle a little bit more over the phone if we can. I know some other departments are doing that as well. If it's just something that needs a report, we're trying to do that just to avoid us going into houses unnecessarily, meeting with people unnecessarily.
We've had some local distributors that have donated respirators to us, which are reusable. The filters are good for about 40 hours of usable life. And they're a lot more durable than the N95 masks, the disposable ones, which we started using, and they'd break, and you can only use them for so long. and we saw ourselves running short on that. Gowns is probably where our shortfall is. We have some Tyvek suits that we can wear, and we kind of just keep those in reserve for something that we know is 100% definite. If we don't do what we're supposed to and what the experts advise us to do, it's going to be even longer. So just follow the advice that the CDC and the county and all those medical experts are putting out.